Perfect. Okay, the presentation, so I'm Mick, the CEO of Fundacity, and today I'm going to speak about fundraising, because I understand that a lot of you are interested in startups, and obviously part of that is raising money to be able to grow and to do things. And yeah, one little interesting fact is that I was here 3 years ago in Montevideo. It's where my entrepreneurship life started. So it's, for me, almost completes a little circle that I'm back here 3 years later, and it's fascinating. When I quit my job and I wanted to do something, I thought I'll enter the startup sector here in Latin America. And the first port of call, the first place I arrived from London was here. And then I backpacked around to find a place to settle down and do something stupid. Right, a little bit about me. I'm an economist, undergrad in economics from Nottingham University. Master's in finance from the LSE. I'm also a chartered accountant. I'm originally Hungarian, born in Budapest, raised in Vienna, and spent a lot of time in London, and I'm a Latino, trying. I worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers. Is that me? Sorry. Yeah, so I worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers in Canary Wharf in London. It was, my dad was very happy, definitely happier than now. And yeah, I thought this was what I really wanted to do. And I felt a little bit more like this. Not the guy with the drink, the guy running in the circle. So I looked to startups to be able to try to realize something that I really wanted. You know, autonomy, doing something different, making an impact, creating my own business, something that can maybe even outlive me. You know, all the little things that molest you every day, probably make you feel unstable as well. So I launched a company called Fundacity with my co-founder Diego, who's a Chilean, and we make startup investing easier. Our clients are investors, VCs, incubators, accelerators. We built them different technologies, selection dashboards to receive and evaluate startups, portfolio manager to get metrics from their investments and improve them. We work with all clients and funds from across 4 continents today. This was done in 2 years. And all the major accelerators here in Latin America, and we're proudly working with Da Vinci as well. We have good user growth. We have users from 120 countries. I think I checked this morning, it was 121. Some countries I haven't heard about before, so it's pretty awesome. And yeah, we're growing gradually. Startups and investors registering on the platform very steadily. And we have slowly becoming one of the biggest platforms, like LinkedIn's, for startups and investors. Good traffic on the site. And the third thing we launched is online investment clubs, where we're enabling any investor to create their own venture capital firm online with people that can join and co-invest with them. People like me who maybe don't know so much about investing, we have like $1,000 and we want to invest with a big investor. And Fundacity enables that as well. And we take care of like the legal structure, etc. We personally raised around $300,000. And I've helped other startups raise as well. And the reason I mention all this is because I want to talk about fundraising. And I interact every day with startups and investors and talk about investing. I look at their processes. I see what they do after you click apply. I see how they're evaluating yourselves. And I'm here to share a little bit about those experiences to you. And hopefully it can benefit you. And yeah, you can raise money and make the next big startup dream come true. Just a quick question. Who here is an entrepreneur? Okay, high up, okay. Who's already launched a venture, a startup? Okay. Who would like to launch a startup? Okay. Well, look around as well, because you might be looking for partners, and events like this is a great opportunity to make like-minded people. Okay, I love this photo because it explains very well the life cycle of a startup. If any of you have seen the movie Social Network with Mike Zuckerberg, beautiful movie, I think it's a good example to walk you through this picture. So example here, the beginning, you see the commencement. Some of us are here today. That little guy sitting, if I have a little, no laser. Bueno, you start on your own, you have an idea. You don't know to start. Maybe you're still working, You're using your money that you're getting from your job, putting it in your startup. That's called bootstrapping. It's a beautiful way to start. Then you meet someone, maybe here at this event, and you say, hey, oh, okay, you're a business dev. You know, I'm a tech guy. I have this idea. Great, let's start together. And maybe one of you has some family money, and you put that in your startup, and you grow. That's the beginning phase. Then you have an uncle who believes in you, or a previous boss, or a friend that you studied with. That's going to be your first friend money. And that's when you reach the next stage, the little house. And that's where you maybe reach maybe $50,000 investment. Then you start hacking, growing, maybe even get some clients. Then you grow, you get some investment from angels. Then you start looking at venture capital money, growing again, have employees, scaling, growing faster. And eventually, like with Facebook, you have an IPO. You list on the stock exchange. I'm going to talk a little bit about these different phases of financing so we can understand better how that works. Yeah? Okay, so here's a table of the different types of investment that you can look at today. And it depends what stage you're at, what opportunities are around you, that you will choose where to go. Quick little question. What's triple F mean? FFF.
Friends, family,
and fools. Exactly. Friends, family, and fools. This is the early stage investment that you will find. This is when you have your idea stage, you don't have a product, but someone believes in you. For my company, I raised our first round from one of my good friends from my master's program. He knew I'm a pretty perseverant kind of individual. I work very hard, and he invested in me because of that. And I'm sure in your studies and in your course of work, you will have people that believe in you that way. These are probably entrepreneurial people, but they just don't have the balls to make the jump like you guys have. And they will invest in you. So no good impression goes to waste. Friends, family, and fools is there. These are typically under $50,000 investments, so smaller capital, but it's good. You don't know what you're doing yet. So it's good, little money. You cannot waste it yet that much, so it makes you think more focused. Usually you give people shares, and common shares. In the US, you would give them convertible notes, which are a little bit more complex investments. Then you have accelerators, incubators, like Da Vinci and Ani. Here is an incubator. Some universities have incubators. In Argentina, you have NXTP Labs. And you have accelerators and incubators in Brazil, Chile, Mexico, a lot out there. And a lot of them you can apply to for free via my site as well, Fundacity. These companies generally look for talent. They look at team, because a good team can realize a product. A bad team will fuck up a bad product, basically, bluntly speaking. So you don't need to have a product to apply to them. You should. Even if you're unsure, you should apply. You get some feedback, very good. And this, for many, will be the beginning of the journey. And you will typically get between $10,000 and $50,000 of investment, and you will give up roughly between 4 and 20% equity. In Latin America, sometimes it's a bit closer to 20. In the US, it's usually closer to 5. And Europe can be up to 10, roughly. Then you have venture capital firms. They're looking for companies with revenue. In fact, I should use this that I've built. Venture capital firms are looking for companies with revenue, with traction, so that you already have clients and are growing, and they will provide you the rocket fuel to go faster. So this is your later stage financing. You can look for anything from $100,000 to maybe $10 million dollars, and they will typically take about 20% of your company, 15, something like that. And you have in Latin America, a great source of capital has been government money. There are generous organizations across this continent, such as Ani. I'm not sure if anyone is here from that organization in Uruguay. No. They have several programs aimed at helping startups begin. I was yesterday speaking to Sarah from Ani. I think that she's the director. She's explaining that there are little programs that give $5,000 for you to build a prototype, or $40,000 for Uruguayans abroad to come back and start a company, and various other ones, little incubation programs. And these are really useful because they don't take equity. It's free money. Amazing. Chile, you might have heard of Startup Chile, which was like one of the pioneer programs in Latin America. Brazil, now you have Startup Brazil. Mexico, you have Startup Mexico. And in Peru, shockingly, it's called Startup Peru. And these are great programs, and you should absolutely apply all the time to these. It's a good experience for you to live abroad, to meet new people, to get free capital, and grow your business with low risk. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about looking for the right investor. And this little table I like because it just kind of summarizes to me where I am and where I should apply. So here are the 4 parameters that investors typically look at in your business. Product, so what do you have built? What's your business model? It's traction and your revenue. And they look at what stage you're in. And you should look at these and ask yourselves this question, because depending on that, you will apply to different type of investors. So starting with an accelerator, they will typically invest in startups that are pre-MVP. An MVP is a minimum viable product. It's the most basic solution, something really simple. For example, maybe before Excel was built, someone drew on a piece of used Word or a piece of paper, drew lines and columns. They said, would this be useful for you to organize information? MVP, piece of paper, pen. Google Glasses, they used coat hangers, you know, the metal, plasticine, Play-Doh, and little glass bought in a hardware store, and cables in a computer to test the concept. And they invited the guys, hey Larry, hey, can you come check it out? Hey Sergey, check out this. They came, they used it, they walked around, and they realized it's pretty cool. Maybe you should spend a couple million developing this. And they did something awesome, very cheaply. And that's the idea of the MVP. And accelerators will typically help you when you're around that MVP, pre-MVP stage, to do validation, to do testing, with a little bit of money and mentoring. You don't need to have a business model defined. It helps if you do, but not necessary to have users, not necessary to have revenue. So really there's no excuses. We can all do that. We can all test and apply and see where this goes. Angel investors are a bit more picky. These are, private guys that are probably successful entrepreneurs, or in Uruguay, a lot of them, I guess, invested in cows, because I heard yesterday evening that was a very, very, very popular investment type here. They're looking to invest in something a little bit more concrete. You have a product, you have some kind of idea of a business model, and if you've chosen the angel investor right, he's someone from your area and can help you develop that. You have some users, and maybe you're around revenue stage. Venture capital, you need all of that basically. Okay, so what kind of investors right for me? Maybe you've heard before, who already heard that investment is like marriage? You get married to your investor. Okay, not many, one person over here. Not many yet. Well, it's marriage. Imagine these guys hold shares in your company until death do you part, literally. So if you have a guy that you don't like working with, and every month you got to speak to this guy who's calling you, I want to strangle you, or calls you every day, it's pretty distracting. So you need to choose wisely. And the key characteristic is not just money. It's that little bit of additional, that's smart money if you heard that before. Someone that can do more for you than just cash. Yes, some network in your industry. He can open the doors with the Hoyt Cinema and the directors there because you have an app, something for the movie industry, for example. If you're an agribusiness, maybe he's a cow investor and he can open doors there for you. These things are very important. So, is your business attractive? That's something we have to look at inside. And I'm going to ask you now, and I know you're going to be shy and you won't say anything at first, but I'm going to still persist. What do you guys think are important for investors? Come on, be brave. Be entrepreneurs, man. Okay, some traction. And fundamentally part of the business. The team. Absolutely. What else?
Can I get a return on this?
Huh?
Can I get a return on this?
Okay. Can I get a return? Is it profitable? Is it an opportunity? Is it just an idea? Exactly.
Enjoy the ride?
Is it fun? Sure. Angel investors, they know they're probably not going to see that money back, so they better be having fun when they're doing it. Give a guess. You're applying, think. When you're applying to an investor, you're thinking, how can I make this attractive for that person? But this is important. What do you think they want to hear? What's the exam question? What's the exam answer, rather? Okay, team, traction. Okay, let me show you some. So, what investors want to know? They need a team that can deliver, yeah? Startups are pretty hard. It's not all that Zuckerberg on the Times. That's not how it is. That's not how it's going to be for a while when you start. So investors want to invest in teams that can solve problems because you're going to have many of them. They want to have a team that is balanced, that has the skill sets that you need for that business. So in my case, I have a strong finance and business background. I speak many languages. My co-founder, he's a great developer and designer. And together, we're almost an MVT, a minimum viable team. And investors like that. Probably it's good not to work with someone from university that is like your best friend. That's a temptation, but chances are you're going to be exactly the same. You went to the same course together. You don't have difference of opinion. That's not great. So yeah, team. Potential to get really big. What's the market size? Do you have numbers? How big is this? It's really risky. It needs to be really freaking big. Because if the upside is not big enough and I'm taking this huge risk, I'm not going to invest. So you need to show, is this a freaking big market? And it's scary that some tech investors expect, especially in the Valley, if you don't have a potential to have $100 million revenue a year kind of business, it's not a business. Well, that's some people hold that as the guide, but I don't know if it's necessary. Necessary, because you could have a lifestyle business, but tech investors do look at it that way. Scalability. Very important for tech investors. Who knows what is scalability? Sure, our friend from the Valley knows.
I think you say it pretty well here. How do you get big fast, or how does it continue to grow exponentially? At 10 people, it grows 100 times. At 100 people, it grows 1,000 times.
Yep. So let's give an example to kind of explain that. I'm a chartered accountant, so I worked in consulting and corporate finance before. I used to bill by the hour to clients. I have 24 hours in the day. That is not scalable business. Because to sell an hour of work, I need an hour of my time. And there's one of me. A scalable business is one that I can build a product and I can sell it one time, 1,000 times, with pretty much the same effort. So think Gmail. You built it, and provided, okay, you have server space and you have the right bandwidth, you can sell that to the whole world. The same technology. And investors look for that. They don't like to invest in agency type models like a law firm, a bakery, and these things, so they just don't consider it scalable. For a hardware type of business, it could still be scalable because you can sell the patent to that or the licensing to make it. That's freaking scalable. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about presenting your idea to a startup. Some important things. One, you need a very good intro that highlights the benefits, who is it for, in very simple language. So here's the intro for Twitter. And I feel sorry for the translators because they're doing a great job, but I'm going to read this quick here. Dropbox is a free service that lets you bring your photos, docs, and videos anywhere and share them easily. Never email yourself a file again. I, as a user, I read that, or as an investor, and I get it. Okay, I have some emails, like photos, docs, I could share that anywhere. Oh, awesome. Oh man, I don't need to do that stupid file attaching stuff that I used to do with Gmail. Jeez, awesome. Well, let's see an eye closing intro. Dropbox is a file hosting service. What is that? Operated by Dropbox Inc. Okay, headquartered in the San Francisco, so maybe it's not for me because I live in Brazil, that offers cloud storage, file synchronize, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, and client software. Dropbox allows users to create a special folder on each of their computer. You get it, right? I close my eyes. Oftentimes, us as entrepreneurs that built the damn thing that we're building, we're so in love with every feature because we sweated and thought about it and should we build it, should we not, and we probably beat each other up one evening and then we worked really hard. We built it, it's important. That little feature of file synchronization, that's awesome. That's great technology, they gotta hear it, we gotta put that word in there. Your users doesn't care about that. They don't care if you implemented Ajax or some new cache system. Boring, they care about speed of the interaction potentially. That's the benefit you gotta think about. Think of your users in that way. And your investors will want to hear it that way also. What are the benefits? So they can see that actually they'll put money and someone will use the service. Yeah? Are you solving a real problem? One great saying I learned in the Valley was, is this a nice to have or a must have? Is this, and I heard a funny joke the other day, which was, is this a mobile app for left-handed cats? Not so necessary. Or is it solving a real issue? People are busy, they have 24 hours a day, and if you're just another Yo app, which I still don't understand why that's cool, but the Yo app I think is a nice to have, and I don't know why people invested, but chances are it will get out of trend fast. People have 24 hours a day, they're stingy about their time, and they will look, does this solve a problem for me and help me do other things in my day more easily? And you need to define that very clearly. And in one quick sentence, if possible, explain and this should define your existence and the vision of the company, and should be very clear. And if you don't have a real problem that you're solving, either pivot or do something else, really. Because you're gonna put a lot of time in a nice to have, and that's not good. Okay, so we talk about opportunity. You need a big opportunity, and investors love numbers. Give me numbers. Where are your numbers? When I was being mentored by this VC guy in Silicon Valley, and I didn't have numbers, we were just starting, and he really irritated me. He was like, show me your numbers. What are your numbers? Have you gone out, got some numbers? Yeah, I'm like, man, okay, I don't know, it's hard. And I made excuses. Chances I should have gone out, gotten some numbers, I would have known more earlier. Now we test and validate everything, and we get data for it. And data is pretty easy to get. Launch a SurveyMonkey, put Google Analytics. These are free services. You can analyze the problem you're solving, you can analyze the effectiveness of the solution you're having. And in terms of the opportunity, you can do research and understand what is my market size, my total market size, and what is the market size I can realistically get. And don't say, yeah, my market is 10 billion and I'm gonna market to 1% of that. That's lazy, and investors know it. They want to see that you've thought about it, did the research. Show them. It's an opportunity to show why this is a great investment. The other one, the business model, again, show numbers, make it easy, and if possible in your presentation, try to show one simple business model. I've often made mistakes when I wasn't sure about our business model by showing 3 different things I could do. Immediately, like sharks, the investors went on that and saw the weakness. This guy doesn't know really. He's really uncertain. This could go anywhere. And they didn't get it. And we didn't get investment at the time. So we thought harder and put a more simple revenue model online that explained it all. Show the number. Okay, the user comes, buys this, the money goes there, and it comes to us. Beautiful. Or I have a SaaS, or I have a little software online, and I have 3 pricing packages. And that's what they pay monthly. Simple. Or anything to that variant. Again, specifics about teams, don't just list your university degrees, show what is relevant for this business. Why are you an asset? I don't know if any of you watched the series Silicon Valley series. I think I watched one episode the other day, somewhat funny. There they sat down and when they started raising money, or they got money rather, a consultant came and asked every so what do you do for the company? What do you do for the company? And you should do that in your team as well. Ask yourself, how do I need to pitch myself? You just need to sell yourself. Because the investor, remember, is really interested in the team. So you need to sell the team to them. Sell them that this is the team that will execute it. And not like the way you would do about your solution. So instead of I just went to this university, instead of saying I went to the London School of Economics and studied finance, I would say I went to this university and I learned about investing, about corporate finance, about mergers and acquisitions, as this helps me to understand venture financing, etc. That's how I bring it out. Instead of computer science, I learned relevant technologies for web apps, so PHP, some Symfony, some MongoDB, some frameworks, some Ajax, and this helps me be able to build the site without having to hire people immediately. Simple. We would think, but we don't think about that when we're doing it. Competition. There's always a competitor. And if you say, there's no competition, either it's very rare, investors will not feel confident that you've done research on the market. There's for sure a competitor or someone that is a substitute. What are users using today to solve their problem? They must be doing something. That's a competitor potentially. And it's fine to have competitors, totally okay, but be aware of them and show your investors that you understand them. They do this, we're a little bit more that. Don't just say they suck, because come on, that's not constructive. Show them that you've analyzed it. Worst that can happen is you say that there's no competitor, they go home, Google, and they immediately find someone. You have zero credibility from that point on. Important is to, when you're presenting, to actually tell them what you're looking for. What am I here? You're not here just to pitch because it gives you a kick, well, at least I hope not, but you're raising money. So say it. I am raising $220,000. And we're pretty shy to do that usually. It feels odd, right, to get up there and say, hey, I'm raising $1 million, yeah? When I was with 7 other Chilean startups in a pitch contest, the Chileans had huge difficulty. They are more introverted people, sometimes a bit shy, and they had huge difficulty with this. Well, it's just not how we do that. It's not, we need to get to know each other, and quietly we discuss that. No, but that's how it works in this industry. There's thousands of startups, investors are busy, you got one shot, you have their hearing, explain to them. This is a transaction. You're buying coffee, the coffee costs 3 reals, whatever, you exchange that. And explain to them what you will do with this money. Now, don't tell me that you're gonna buy 3 developers and buy office space. It's not results. Give me the 3 results that you're gonna achieve with that. So when I pitched our startup, recently I said I'm looking for $500,000 reals, and with this I will grow my user base to 20,000 users. I will expand our investment market model from Brazil to Mexico, and I will close more than $20 million worth of investments via my platform. 3 results, and you're like, okay, interesting, and that will get the company here. I see what I'm funding. That's my KPI also. So you're communicating to your investor many things. You've gone beyond understanding where you will throw the money. You know where you want this money to take you, and they get an idea where this company will be after this investment. Very, very important. Online, you can do a little Google search. I think Y Combinator has really nice YouTube videos about pitches. And one of them, they sit down and they analyze a pitch. They pause it every 5 seconds, and then here this guy did that, here did this, that. And I think my favorite one was Big Sound or Cloud Sound, or not sure what it was called. The Big Sound, I think. Huh? No. Okay, no. And there they explain it very well in the end. That guy did that. He said, with this, we will do X, Y, and Z. I thought beautiful. So a little bit of some tips and hacks that I picked up, because I've pitched in really many countries and heard many, many no's. And so I want to share that. In terms of where to look for investors, there's 3 ecosystems that I find really good. There's the number 1 investor ecosystem globally, I would say, is AngelList, by far. It's a really cool competitor of ours, but yeah, really cool website in the US. They have a lot of venture capital funds up there, accelerators, angel investors, and you need to go network. Online, offline, always be networking and find people to connect there. Create a good profile, show off who you are, sell the team. Same on Fundacity. You can look for accelerators, funds, and people there to network with, create a good profile, show who you are, and message people. When you reach out to people, and same on LinkedIn, very, very good place to mine. Find people in your industry. You can do really good advanced searches there. They might not be an angel investor, but they might be an executive that is in your field. And you can sell the idea to meet with them, get feedback, open doors, get mentoring, and maybe even investment after all that. Famous saying, ask for feedback, get money, ask for money, get feedback. So when you message people, don't say, hey, I want 5 minutes of your time, I have the next big thing. Delete, spam. Hey sir, I like this, what you did. I am this, I do that. I would like to know this from you, and in exchange I can offer you this knowledge. Interesting, I can learn something from this guy. Every one of you can probably teach the other something, teach me something, and you need to sell that. And investors like to learn. So that's a good way to get a meeting. They are busy people, these executives, these investors. So when they decide to meet with you or not, it's like a cost-benefit analysis. Spend time with this guy or not, or go to have this other meeting. But if you can sell them something that they don't have, you create a need, something valuable. And that's a good way to get a meeting. And I guarantee you, if you put some thought into it, you will have really nice results. I'm a big LinkedIn whore, by the way. I'm always on LinkedIn doing that, and I can get a lot of meetings using it. It's such a powerful tool, and it's free and scalable to an extent. Go to startup communities, events, meetups, co-workings, meet people, speak to people. Don't go to these events and speak to your same little group. Go out, venture out, and ask questions. Listen to what the other has to say, and you will meet amazing people and learn stuff. Introductions. If someone introduces you, make sure to immediately follow that up. Nothing is more frustrating when you introduce someone and then they don't take the initiative. You've literally burnt contact with that. Follow up aggressively, show energy and drive that you really want to meet that person. Events, yeah, and read tech news. You can see who are the new accelerators, like Pulso Social here in like Spanish-speaking LATAM, or Start2P in Brazil for Latin American news are pretty good. And there's many others, of course. Okay, some like hacks and stuff that I've seen and things that I've seen go wrong. When you're pitching, a lot of people, and I've seen this in various like hackathons in the States that were televised, people came and showed a little video. Guess what? Internet didn't work because Murphy was there. I'm sure you know Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong, my friends. So don't show a video. You have limited time on stage. If it doesn't work, you're really screwed. So images, snapshots are way better and safer. Use good design online. So I'm my co-founder. I can't decide for my life. But my co-founder is a great designer, and it helps. Make it visual, little text for your presentations. Very, very good. And your website as well. Put a lot of effort in UX. When you're on stage or speaking to someone, there's a saying in Portuguese that, you know, the investor looks for the red-eyed guy, you know, who's just like, wow, he's totally excited to be there and he's hungry, he's passionate, and they're the people they like to invest into. Well, I'm sure you also prefer to speak to engaging people that are excited to be speaking to you, right? So do that. You can fake that. Yeah, just get excited, speak well, speak passionately, smile. Don't be shy. So again, when you're pitching and you're speaking about your team, pitch them. Don't be shy. It's not a moment to be humble. It's not the American way. We're not British, okay? We just gotta go pitch that team, it's amazing, and go for it. When you have presentations, PowerPoints, you often have very little time, 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And there often will be Q&A. And you can't cover everything in 5 minutes, no. But you can know what the questions will be. Or if not, present to some people, get some feedback, then you will know, and prepare extra slides. And then when they ask you, it's like, great question, actually, here I am, I got this slide for you. You're like, wow, this guy is prepared, shit, okay. So it's very good to do that. I absolutely recommend it. Yeah, and there's a famous saying that in startup world, we are always doing things that we are underprepared for, we have zero experience in. When I was, that time when I told you that I was in the Valley, we went there and we were completely new. We had like just a PowerPoint, we didn't have any product. And I don't know how, we convinced some guy from the Sandal Angels to invest in us. And I was really excited. I was like, wow, we got that email, he's gonna put in 20K, seemed like the world. I didn't really know what to reply. It's like, okay, I only knew that I need to convince this guy to say that. From that point on, I had no clue. I didn't know how to negotiate that, and I didn't know what the terms were. Even though I work in the finance industry, venture deals are very unique. They have unique terms, they have a unique flow, they have a very informal way around them, which is hard to deal with if you're not familiar. So, read. There's so many blogs, information, it's internet age. Read it. Stay at home, don't go out, don't party, read it. Don't let the deal go cold, read, learn, and get back to it. That's what I did. Everyone was partying from those other 7 startups. They went out, San Francisco. I was there 4 weeks, I couldn't go out once. And I was reading, I bought a book, Venture Hacks, amazing book, really enjoyed it. Read it in 48 hours and did a response Monday. And there's no reason why some of you couldn't do that. It's exactly the same. There's amazing blogs out there with entrepreneurs talking about their experiences. They're really helpful. You can use like an app like Feedly to keep shooting you those, the recent articles so you can keep on top of it. Read the ones that are relevant. Yeah, so know your legal stuff when you're at that meeting. And if you don't know what's going on, just be quiet. If you don't say anything, nothing can go wrong. Just shut up. Don't look needy. This is like dating. If you look like you really want that girl, guess what? She's not gonna be dating you. If you're kind of, okay, yeah, maybe, we'll see. If you're a little bit, if you have some self-worth, you'll do a lot better. And to help, it's useful to have a plan B. And if really you're not that investor ready, but somehow you got an angel deal, at least apply to some accelerators or government investment bodies. That's your backup plan. Or have a way that you're gonna cut costs or work a second job or something to again have a plan B. And like that you can negotiate. You can get better terms. And it's important. Don't give away a lot of equity up front. Yeah, so take your time to shop around. And don't be afraid to say no. That guy who offered to invest in us $20,000 at a time, by the way, we had like $4,000 in the bank. And we really needed it. He wanted 2% for the 20,000. Nice, okay, yeah. But 10% for his advice. Well, what is advice? We couldn't really understand. We couldn't nail him down to like something specific. We negotiated for like 3 months. That we were really desperate, and I almost cried when I said no, but I had to say no. I remember I was devastated after the call, absolutely devastated. But things worked its way around, and we figured it out. And retrospectively, I'm confident that I made a good decision there, but it was very hard. And since then, it wasn't the first one. We've had another one where it was $500,000, 30% of the company. 2 board seats out of 2, so 50% control. All kinds of other terms that we didn't like. We said no. You just have to do that sometimes. Chances are, if they really like you, they'll come back and make something work. Don't let them bully you. If they're bullying you, do you really want to work with those guys? Is that someone you want to work with? Is that a good partner? No, forget it. Yeah, there's a couple of stuff in investment that you should learn. These are probably a little bit more American focused, but if you're raising money internationally, it's good to know what is a convertible note, what is common stock, and what is preferred stock. I'm not so familiar with the system here. I'm just about learned the Chilean and the Brazilian ones. But very briefly, common stock is like acciones, like shares in your company. And preferred stock is like acciones con preferencias. Like if you liquidate the company, they get paid first. They might have additional rights in terms of voting. They might have interest that gets accumulated and they get more shares with that. Things like that. You need to understand what are those terms. Often investors might ask for preferred stock. A convertible note is a cool little new device invented in the States, I guess, that starts like a debt and turns into equity if certain things happen. It's nice. One of the nice things about it is that when your company starts, you don't know what it's worth. You just don't know. So with convertibles, you say, hey, look, I don't really know what your company is worth. Let's do this debt instrument. And when you get another serious investment for equity and when we know what your company is worth, I will change to shares at some discounted rate, having accrued some interest, and that's how it works. Okay. These wrap up my few tips on the matter. And I would love to take questions from you in terms of anything related to financing or startups. So yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Ask now, not all run to me when I'm having coffee, yeah?
Mick, over here.
Thank you.
It's a quick question. How much equity do you think you should be giving to an angel investor? What are the ranges that are typically done?
So an angel will probably give between $10,000 and $50,000, I would say. Very rarely more. And for that, I think, even stepping back, the angel is not meant to be a partner or necessarily working full-time in the business. So the controls shouldn't be that big. That means they shouldn't get like 20, 25, 50% for sure, because they're not involved on a day-to-day basis. So that's already a ceiling. And what I see in the market is that you should be giving no more than 10%, no matter if it's 50 or 10 or whatever. So I think that's a good way to look at it. Just a couple percent. In fact, a lot of times it's good to give them a convertible note because you don't know what valuation to use. So you can completely even step away from this question of how much is the company worth. So it's a nice way. I think in Argentina they started using what they call safe documents, developed also in the Valley, I think. That's a good document to use as well. If anyone wants one of these documents, I can just ping them to you. I think I have them on my computer. Thank you for the question. Please.
I understand here in Uruguay, there's no way for an entrepreneur to give. I understand here in Uruguay, there's no way for a startup to give options to its employees or something like that. Do you know if that's possible in other countries in Latin America? And what are the problems that you could foresee for Uruguay because of not having the possibility to give options to employees? Because I understand that's like a big part of the ecosystem of employees becoming investors after IPOs or exits.
How interesting. I did not know you couldn't do that in Uruguay. And that's a really interesting point. So you couldn't even be give a right to the company to buy back the shares if you leave at a certain time, not even like a reverse type of option like that. How interesting. I would look into that because that's really important, as you absolutely point out. In the beginning of startup life, you don't have money. So what you try to do to sweeten the deal is give people a bit of the upside in the company. Stock options. If you work here, continue to work here, every day you're getting a little bit more participation in the company, and that's That's motivating to an entrepreneurial spirit. What you can do though in Uruguay is you could incorporate in another country. You could incorporate, I hear Mexico is really interesting right now for Spanish-speaking countries because you get a lot of state support, and there's this year gonna be 30 new venture capital funds, about 300 million new money in the market. And there's not enough projects for that at all. So it's a really good place to start. It has a big internal market and it's Spanish speaking, so it's a nice way to spread. And the government is very pro startups. So that's one way. I don't know what the ties are between the US and Uruguay, if it's difficult or not, but having a holding company in Delaware, like a C Corp, is a really nice way. And you don't need to spend so much on lawyers as you would think, because you can do a lot of this online. And a lot of the documents, like stock options, etc., you can just download. And if not, just email me and I will send you them, and just change Fundacity to your company name. That is easy as that. But yes, absolutely, I strongly recommend that you have a stock option plan in place, and if you can't do it here, do it elsewhere. Interesting.
What is the hardest question you've had from an investor, and how did you handle it?
Ooh. So there's a couple funny ones. I'll do a funny one. So are you an idiot, or you're assuming I'm a fucking idiot? And I was like, geez, man, I don't even know how to respond to you, man. And you just gotta stand there and smile and take that positively as possible, and not what throw something at him. And the reason was that I didn't mention we're like a certain competitor in the beginning, and he wanted that, but I had a mentoring just the day before, and they asked me not to mention it that way. So I had to kindly respond saying, well, in this week I pitched 10 times, 7 of the 10 times I did mention it this way. All due respect, I don't think you're an idiot. Maybe I am an idiot, but here's my reasoning behind that. There were questions like, nah, I just don't believe that. And you really, and it was with an angel group. And you cannot be caught when you're pitching 10 people and one guy says something like that. You need to diffuse that guy. You need to just thank him and then say, I understand, well, from what I see and the research we've done, I believe X, Y, and Z. But, thank you for that, and I'll we can talk later. Get the fuck out of here. And try to deal with the other people. It's very important not to appear arrogant in front of the investors, because they won't like you. These are, I think, two of the funnier ones. Yeah. I think you can have a lot of tough questions, like around competitors. I think that's when it gets under your skin a lot. Because, as a startup, you're quite uncertain. You don't know if this is going to work. And yeah, you do have competitors. And yeah, they could destroy you in a moment. And, you have to just believe and have hope. And when people call it, it's really hard to just maintain calm, be level-headed, and explain what you think. Or when they don't believe in your business model. And you know that, and you are uncertain, and they poke at it, because they're so good. They're like sharks, they smell the blood, You, there as well, you need to explain, yeah, this is what we're testing, but I'm very open to feedback. What do you think? Boom, switch the tables, put him on the spot. It's a very good way to kind of circumvent them, yeah. Be prepared for hard questions, for sure. Thank you for that, it's a good question.
I have a question regarding timeframes. You were talking about like scales of raising money and everything like that. In your experience, how long does it take to raise all these different rounds that you're talking about in Latin America, maybe compared to the U.S.?
Wow, man! Even when everything is signed and certain, 3 months till it reaches your bank, I would say, and it sucks because and if you have Christmas come in between. You might just not see that, because Christmas is a bad time for investors, because everyone in their family is sucking the money out of their pockets. And they feel poorer, and they don't feel like, or they spent a lot of time with their wife, and maybe they had an argument that he's always wasting money on crazy shit. And then now he has this like mobile app that can fly to the moon and I don't know what, and he's like, I'm not so sure I have the risk appetite anymore. So we've actually lost a venture deal last year that I was setting up from November, and it was going to be signed finally in January. They went on holiday, and the guy came back and says, look, I just don't think this is going to happen. And then the second VC, still in the deal, got all uncertain. I signed in May. Just had to work it. Things go cold. With deals, man, don't make sure if there's some traction there, just go with it, and you should keep pushing. Because if you let the biggest enemy to all deals is time. 100%. Yeah, so 3 to 6 months, I would say. Accelerators, though, can be a matter of weeks, or government calls, month. Those are fast. There. But even there, sometimes you get expenses reimbursed versus paid up front, and you're waiting for money forever. And I've had terrible experiences in Chile, for example, on that matter with Corfo, where we just never got reimbursed, and it was hard. So cash juggling is a reality always, no matter what deal. Thank you.
In Fundacity, here.
Sorry, wave your hand.
In Fundacity, I saw lots of, when you are playing to an investor or an accelerator, incubator, I see some of them ask a lot of videos, asking for like, well, what is the problem, what is your value proposition, what is the team, and all of them are like videos in like the format of telling them. What are your recommendations for preparing these videos?
So why do they do these videos? Some of them are really the bad reason for that, but basically a lot of them receive a lot of applications and they're kind of lazy to read the applications. That's just the truth. And they want to quickly sit back, go through them, and with that they see a couple of things. If it's the team speaking, they get to at least see the charisma or the energy of the team. Do they have the red eyes? They also check your technology skills. Because if you have a good design video, maybe they know what they're doing. If it's like you in front of a webcam standing like that, you know, your mom like enters and closes the door, you know, that's less good. Yeah, so try to do high quality. If you go to fiverr.com, 5 with the 2 R's, there you can get for like voiceovers, professional voiceovers. You can even get like Morgan Freeman type voiceovers. That's pretty cool. Imagine Morgan Freeman narrating your product. And for 5 minutes for 60 words, and you can just send them the script and you can get some really good quality, really cheap. And then you could even just take your slides and embed it underneath, and you can have like a voiceover over your slides. And that's a really nice way to look good. But put time in design there, for sure, for your slides, or if it's an animated cartoon. I don't like cartoons very much. I feel it's a bit insulting, like we're like all children, I feel. But some people like it. My co-founder and I, we have like a strict policy never to do cartoons for ourselves. But it's popular as well. And there's great services out there to make them too. I just don't know any. Yeah.
Yes. Hi, good morning. One question. In this world about e-businesses, what happened about creating a community and you don't have a real revenue model? You need to create a very big community in order to make profit. What do you expect to hear about that? Because, well, I need to create 2 million people community to start to make profit.
Marketplaces are hard, man, really hard. And if you say, I'm gonna make money once this is a big marketplace, it's a really hard sell. And I know that because our company started off like a community for startups and investors. And I got a lot of pushback when I was pitching people, because it's like, I've seen a million of you guys, and how are you different, and why would they come? And it's hard, and to rely on that revenue model, very difficult. I read a good blog about that, and you will understand better why we evolved the way we did also. So I have to build a community, solve a problem, some little problem, but solve something. Because that will get some people to register and more people to register in a scalable manner. Because otherwise you have the chicken egg problem. No one wants to join unless other people are there, and then no one wants to be there. It's really difficult. So, yeah, please?
No, and what do you think about those companies which two ways. One, long-term strategy in order to create a community, and a short strategy in order to make a little money, just to see some numbers at least.
Even if that's great, and even if that little strategy can help you at least acquire the users, awesome, because I know how you're going to build that bigger strategy. With Fundacity, we've built those tools. Those are a short-term strategy to acquire users, because you are all logging in to apply to accelerators log in to evaluate you. That's not a big business, but I'm growing with numbers, and that I can use a market and create an investment market, and that's our long-term strategy. So if you apply this kind of thinking, I think that will be very helpful to you. To solve some little problem, some little tool, some little thing. Maybe it's not even scalable. Maybe it's you providing information, they're taking it, translating it, or solving some issue, some barrier. Helpful.
Even if those strategies are completely different, for example, a B2C long-term strategy and a B2B short-term strategy?
Well, as long as whatever you're doing brings the users that you need for your long-term strategy, I think that's coherent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We don't have more time.
Okay. Drink coffee. Perfect. Thank you.